guard the stage. Best way to see the West.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Strictly Story Mode Gaming. Given the seriousness of our times, I thought we would explore some lighthearted humor and some choice video games. In this golden age of gaming, the most deluxe titles constantly treat us to hyper-immersive environments, advanced AI and game mechanics, morally complex narratives. But in such overladen games, humor is often a minor ingredient and most often an unintended side effect.
You selling that prize?
Excuse you!
It's not as it looks.
Last month, I was sucked into a powerful vortex of dad jokes from this masterpiece of stick figure comedy. I realized I've been starved for a game that puts humor as its primary driver of gameplay. And in this Western RPG by Asymmetric, you play a tenderfoot from Kansas seeking out adventure in the wild, weird West. If you love Westerns and corny dad jokes, there is no other game that will cater to your lowbrow tastes like West of Loathing. Get it? Not a lot available past this point? West of Loathing is in many ways a classic adventure RPG, except its primary objective is to tickle your funny bone. The main questline involves building a railway line all the way to Frisco. Along the way, you do all the standard Western adventure activities galloping around on your horse. You explore abandoned mines, clear gang hideouts, collect bounties, but this game mixes in the supernatural and wacky fantasy magic alongside a barrage of good-natured humor, puns, meta jokes on RPGs and gamers. This game often breaks the fourth wall in service of humor. West of Loathing gently pokes fun at the ridiculously compulsive behavior of gamers like me. There are toilets sprinkled all across the West, and if you flush enough of them, you will get a very special Master of Flushing perk, which gives you 3 bonus strength. Now, I know what you're thinking. If a game is gonna go there, why not go all the way? Even Kojima shamelessly reuses South Park's mechanic of pooping to weaponize it against your enemies. It's just not that funny in Death Stranding. West of Loathing rightly avoids the crass humor of the South Park games, retaining a warm, fan-friendly tone. I actually really love the wholesome level of silliness in this game. For a title that was rubbed together on a shoestring budget, this game contains a surprising amount of diverse content. I played this game on a lark for free on Xbox Game Pass PC, as it was leaving free access that week. But I loved it so much, I bought my very own copy. There are literally thousands and thousands of games out there in the wild, and it's really hard to know when an indie title would give you such a spanking good time. Nothing is voice acted, and a large part of the humor is conveyed through the written word. So you're gonna be reading a lot. But game designers have stuffed bits of humor everywhere, so even reading through your inventory can be quite entertaining. The wobbly billiards cue. The thing about people who buy billiards tables is that they're almost never the kind of people who will properly maintain their cues. This cue does not provide evidence to the contrary. Didn't find that funny? Don't worry, there's plenty of jokes lurking around to hit you over the head. More than playing a walking comic strip, West of Loathing has everything in miniature a AAA open-world RPG has, plus more. Red Dead quests are on such tight rails. You drive when Rockstar wants you to.
We going or not?
And you shoot when they want you to. The minute you want to try anything different, Rockstar will fill your ass. The simple doodly art is only skin deep, and surprisingly, West of Loathing grants you much more player agency than Red Dead. You do not feel like you're splashing around in the RPG kiddie pool. Even for the main questline, this game gives you multiple ways to complete the bridge to Frisco. Besides helping out the Brentwood residents, you can opt to take the alien technology route, or take a darker path with a necromancer storyline. No matter how primitive the implementation, West of Loathing, like any self-respecting RPG, will provide multiple options for one-time encounters as well as entire quests, depending on your character's abilities. I chose non-violent options because the game will feed you more jokes, and you also get to skip that clunky, old-fashioned, turn-based combat. Given the budget, it's not as unforgivable as the clunky, mindless cover-and-shoot mechanic in Red Dead. AAA open-world titles rely heavily on visually rich, hyper-detailed worlds to provide player immersion. Rockstar especially goes the extra mile to leave nothing to your imagination. Except when they do.
Trust me, you won't regret it.
Human imagination takes so very little to get stimulated, and the West of Loathing is a refreshing reminder that you don't need millions of polygons for a cracking good time in gaming. One of my favorite side quests involves locating a hidden lounge, and in order to see it, you need to open your third eye all the way with some magic mushrooms. This is not a game for everyone, but for those lucky few, this is a motherlode of comedy gold. This game hits my funny bone just right, and sometimes I was chuckling really hard even though I didn't know why I found a particular joke so funny. For instance, the goblin sandwich. This is a sandwich for goblins and a sandwich where the meat is goblin. I don't know why I think it's funny, but yeah. I do want to point out that I'm not a sucker for just any kind of silliness. Wattam has some of the purest, absolute forms of silliness found in gaming right now, and I didn't laugh once. We gamers are spoiled for choice on where to put our precious gaming hours. I played dozens of games last month, new and old, and all infinitely better looking. But West of Loathing really won me over because imagination, it doesn't need constant visual gratification. But YouTube, it's mostly a visual medium. As just compensation for inflicting so many dad jokes on you, as well as traumatic toilet scenes and ungodly use of the Comic Sans font, I leave you now with the soothing visuals and sounds of Gris. Thank you for joining me, and let's meet again in the next world.